Good afternoon and welcome to News Review on Unilag TV. My name is Adibola Adejiba. Today on the program is a special edition as Unilag Radio celebrates 18th anniversary, and I have with me a special person. She was once the head of station of Unilag Radio. She is Mrs. BC King-Paul. Glad to have you join us on the program, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, you were once the head of station. Just go down memory lane for us and make a projection. What advice do you have, comparing how your time was and what projection it would be for the person currently heading the station?
Well, I'd like the present studio manager to first of all remember that Unilag Radio is a campus radio station. So what we are doing is different from the regular commercial stations.
Okay.
We are primarily broadcasting to our students, our primary target audience, and the youth, and of course the community around us.
Okay.
So, and we should also bear in mind that our station serves as an avenue for training students,
Right.
not only of mass communication, but other related fields in the university, and giving students the opportunity, to project their skills, project their ideas, and project what they want to be in future.
Okay.
That's a great avenue for them to begin. But then when they're doing that, we should always remember and drum it into them that broadcasting is broadcasting. No matter whether you're a campus station or a commercial station, there are rules that we should all abide with. So we should make sure that our students, we teach them.
Right.
So that's why it's always necessary to have, experienced broadcasters
Okay.
at the helm of affairs,
Yes.
who will teach the students and other volunteers on the rudiments of broadcasting.
Right.
So that, when they go out, when they graduate and they go out, they'll be able to make their mark.
Okay.
In various media organizations. They would have already gained the experience, the practical experience,
Right.
and this has been the case anyway.
Okay.
We have so many of our students who have graduated and they're now making their mark in different media organizations.
Now, since the advent of community radio stations, there's been, should I say, a proliferation of community radio stations. We have so many of them. We have Unilag Radio, obviously. We have Yabatech Radio, so many community radio stations. My question is, what really, you talked about training, I got that, but what really is the role of community radio station in the society?
Well, I always like to make a demarcation between
Okay.
campus
Right.
radio stations and community radio stations. There
Okay.
is a difference, although it slightly overlaps.
Okay.
We community radio stations are run by members of the community,
Okay.
for the community. They generate all their funds from the community. They are not supposed to be, controlled by politicians or religious bodies. They're primarily for the community. But campus stations are primarily for the youth. They are supposed to be broadcast programs primarily for the youth. They are supposed to receive support
Okay.
from their establishments. For example, Unilag Radio is supposed to, and we do receive support anyway, from the management. But we find that there's some campus stations who don't receive as much support as they should.
Right. Okay.
Because, we are not supposed to, we're not for profit. The same thing, community stations are not supposed to be for profit. We're not supposed to take hardcore commercials.
Okay.
We're supposed to generate our funds from the community, maybe little commercials that are targeted for the youth.
Okay.
So that is why it's very necessary to receive support from our various managements, because it's not, running a broadcast station is very costly, especially when everything has gone digital right now.
Right.
So
Now, talking about community radio station or campus radio station, some persons have the perception that, it's community radio, it's campus radio, the standard shouldn't be, so high up there. So what's the role of professionalism in a campus or community radio station?
As I said, even
Yeah.
if you're using students, I know at the beginning,
Right.
for example, when I was there, you know, students will come, they say they want to be a presenter.
Right.
But I used to make them do a voice, shall I say, a test.
Okay.
Yes, a voice test. So only those who are found to be suitable for presentation, but I'll allow them to come in, and then they have to train. They have to start somewhere. They have to first work with a experienced presenter
Okay.
who will put them through. But you find that most of our students, you know, they all want to be presenters, but they don't know there are other areas of broadcasting that they can go into.
Right.
They can go into production.
Okay.
They can go into the newsroom, you know, be news reporters, news editors. Sometimes when we have people who come on industrial training and I put them in the library. They don't
Okay.
like that at all. But then I used to
Right.
tell them that the library, it's very important to have a broadcast library in your organization. Because if it's well set up, as ours was set up then, you know, all the programs that are recorded supposed to be submitted to the library. They're supposed to be indexed. So if you're looking for, you know, things that had happened, archive material,
Right.
you just go to the library, it's there. Or if you want to book out an old program, for example, maybe you can't produce your program that week, then the librarian will be able to book it. You book it out, but you have to make sure that what you're booking out is not timely,
Okay.
you know. So it's very important, but you find that many of them, you know, they all want to be presenters. Or they come, they say, I want to read news. I said, you can't just read news. It's not even every presenter that makes a good newsreader.
Interesting.
Yes.
Could you shed more light on that? Not every presenter makes a good newsreader.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, there's some presenters who are good at presenting entertainment programs.
Okay.
And you know, by the way they present,
Okay.
that they're good. Entertainment is their thing.
Right.
But then those who, when you now tell them to read news, they can't cope. We
Okay.
used to have one like that. I don't want to mention his name because he's
Okay.
working with a radio station now.
Okay.
He was very good in presenting his program. But the day we said, oh, read, there was no newsreader, please take the news. Oh, that day, I almost had a heart attack. That would be the last time. So, you know, some have the flair,
Right.
you know, the talent to
Okay.
present, to do entertainment and read news. But you find that there's usually a core of newsreaders. Even in Radio Nigeria,
Yeah.
there's a core of newsreaders. They select them,
Okay.
those who are going to read the network news. Even remember NTA.
Right.
It's not all the presenters that read NTA that read the network news. There's a core, they select them.
Okay. You know, in closing, what would be your advice to a budding presenter or an aspiring broadcaster, you know, who's watching this program? What do they need to do in terms of getting the prerequisites of being an ace broadcaster?
Well, first you have to recognize where your talent lies,
Okay.
what you're really interested in doing. No matter what you're doing, you have to spend time to gather information. Like before you go on air, you must have done research into what you want to talk about.
Okay.
Like let's say you want to talk about malaria.
Right.
You must have done your research on what malaria is, so that when you're talking, you sound credible.
Okay.
And people know that, yes, this presenter knows what he or she is doing. Even if you're a producer of programs, you must have done your research. And things are much easier now. You can go on the internet and get a lot of research. During our days, there was no internet, there was no Google. We had to read papers, we had to go to the library, we had to go to this person, that person to gather information. But you must gather information, you must be knowledgeable, and you must update the knowledge you have so you don't sleep. No matter what area of broadcasting you're doing, even if it's technical, you don't sleep. You must keep abreast because things are changing, you know, every day. So you must keep abreast and know what's going on in broadcasting.
All right, you must keep abreast. Is a fine place to leave it, and that's the most we can take on this edition of News Review on Unilag TV. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms at Unilag on TV. My name is Adebola Adeduba. My guest has been Mrs. BC King Paul, former head Unilag Radio. Until next time, please stay safe. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.